The office of President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukrainian forces have launched a new offensive in Russia's Kursk region. Ukrainian troops have occupied Russian soil since August, when they first advanced into the Kursk area, and have resisted efforts to expel them. Russian media, citing the country's defense ministry, say their troops have so far repelled these latest Ukrainian advances. Let's cross over to DW's Eastern Europe editor Roman Goncharenko, who is following the story for us. Roman, anything more you can tell us?
Well, indeed, there is not much information. On the one hand, it was not quite unexpected. Russian military bloggers were writing about it a few weeks ago. About 3 weeks ago, I was talking to an Austrian military analyst and historian, Oberst Markus Reisner, Colonel Markus Reisner, and he expected exactly this, something like this to happen. Just shortly before President Trump taking office in the United States on the 20th of January, that Ukrainians would do a new offensive operation in the Kursk region. So what we know now, we don't know how many Ukrainian forces are involved. We know that the Russians indeed did not quite expected this, and Ukrainians at least have some success there. We can assume that they are using tanks, armored vehicles, and we don't know how many men. And the Russians are trying to stop them. As far as we understand, the direction of the Ukrainian offensive operation is to the northeast of the Sudzha town, towards the village Berdin, and a second village that Ukrainians are probably aiming, according to Russian sources, is Большое Солдатское, which is about 80 kilometers from the Kursk, the capital of the region.
Now, if we're looking at the bigger picture there, can the Ukrainian army afford and sustain this new offensive while they're defending their own territory?
This is indeed a big question. We know that Ukrainian forces have been losing territory in the Kursk region that they have captured since August last year. So the Russians have been advancing slowly there, recapturing their territory. On the other hand, Ukrainians are losing territory in their own region of Pokrovsk in Donbass, in the east of Ukraine. So Ukrainian forces were under pressure. So it is indeed an unexpected attack from the Ukrainian forces when we consider they are believed to not to have enough forces to stop the Russian offensive on several fronts. On the other hand, I think that Ukrainians could sustain this operation at least for a couple of weeks. It will not be probably a very big operation because the Ukrainian forces are limited.
Now, what do you make of the timing then?
Well, the timing is indeed not unexpected. As I've just said, it's just a few weeks before Donald Trump takes office in the United States. Ukrainians are expecting him to push them towards negotiations with Russia. So they want to put themselves in a better negotiating position. That is why many experts believed that such an operation could take place. There are also several other reasons. For example, tomorrow is the Christmas Eve, Orthodox Christmas Eve in Russia. So the period between the New Year's Eve and the Orthodox Christmas is a time when Russia is at rest, when nothing works. Okay, there is this big war against Ukraine for the third year, but still, these are Orthodox holidays, and there is a kind of chaos in Russia still, and we are reading such reports from Russian military bloggers speaking about that time. And this offensive operation is also happening before an expected visit by the U.S. Special Envoy or Special Representative by the future Trump administration, Keith Kellogg, to Ukraine. So Ukrainians are preparing for this visit and for Donald Trump to take office. And last but not least, we have heard reports a few weeks ago that the North Korean soldiers are fighting alongside Russian army against Ukrainian army in Kursk region. So, but those forces are limited, as we understand. And there were also expectations that by the spring, North Korea could send even more troops. So Ukraine has a window of opportunity now, and it seems to be using it.
DW's Eastern Europe editor Roman Goncharenko there. Thank you very much for your analysis, Roman.